Obviously you've had a lot of highlights. Like I got your stat sheet here. Playing at Colgate, Canada U18s, captain of Colgate, and then obviously with the PWHL draft. So there's a lot of highlight moments in there. I'm sure that we could talk about. But one that's interesting for me is first with the PWHL. When did that the idea of being in the PWHL, playing professionally, when did that become real for you? And when did you maybe realize, okay, I could actually do this professionally and maybe make a hockey career out of this? Because this is, like, for all intents and purposes, a relatively new thing in women's hockey where you actually have an opportunity to play professionally and actually make a career out of it. So first of all, when did that happen for you where you thought, hey, I could actually do this? And then second, that moment of actually being drafted, talk a little bit about that, how that process went for you with Ottawa.
Yeah, I think just being kind of in college in my fifth year, I think everything all happened fairly quick just with the PWHL buying the PHF over the summer. Then how quickly they were able to form the league was honestly super impressive and just how well it did. So I think kind of in that time period, on top of being in college, the talk about it and around it definitely amplified quite a bit. So throughout the year, I definitely kept a close eye on obviously the league as a whole and really enjoyed watching, but also being a part of the Canadian national women's team. A lot of those players were going through the process of the draft and signing contracts and being a part of the league. So definitely kept a closer eye on it for sure. I mean, at the time, definitely wanted to focus on my college team and what we could accomplish there. But on the back of your mind, it's definitely your future and hopefully what was to come. So definitely saw it as an opportunity to do what I love, obviously playing hockey and also have it as a profession after college. So definitely something I wanted to strive towards upon hearing about it. But as far as the draft, I think it was just pretty incredible. I mean, 2 years ago, if you would have asked me like about playing professionally and attending a draft, I probably would have said there's no chance, just with everything that was kind of going on. But I think to be there and be a part of something like the PWHL draft is something I'll kind of remember for a long time. But I think it goes without saying, but I think it also speaks to the efforts that have been put in by past players, current players, future players, just to kind of grow the game as a whole. So for that, I think I'm just incredibly grateful to graduate at the time I did, but for all those trailblazers to kind of pave the way for us younger people coming into the league. So definitely really fortunate for sure.
Nice. How has your experience been so far engaging with Ottawa on the organizational level? And what do you think of the, let's say, from a mindset perspective, transitioning to from the college game to a pro game? Has there been anything that has stood out to you that's been surprising, or how do you feel that you're adapting to that kind of different environment?
Yeah, so I'm actually still in Edmonton, so I haven't had the opportunity to go to Ottawa yet, but training camps start at the start of November-ish. So
Oh, it's a bit
obviously
later.
really
Okay.
yeah, really looking forward to that. And I'm training with some of the best players in the world. So I think as far as an adjustment, I think just the physicality is going to be amplified, but also I think getting to compete with and against the best players in the world every single day is going to kind of help elevate my game, but also the women's game as a whole. So I just think it's going to continue to get better over the next several years. And I think that's very, very exciting for everyone involved.
I actually have a question. Where did you feel the most pressure playing for Team Canada or, the whole, prospect of PWHL and, entering the draft and things like that? Where did you, at what point in your career did you feel the heaviest amount of pressure?
Yeah, definitely. I think probably just the whole PWHL situation, just being one of the newer players on Team Canada, I never really felt any pressure or like I had to like do something to kind of shift the game per se. Like obviously I want to help the team in any way I can, but at the same time, I was a newer player on the team. So I didn't think anyone had any expectations for me to do something really, really important. So every time I go to Hockey Canada, I just kind of try and impact the game, and also just the off ice component in any way I can. So I think that's kind of just allows me to be my best self too, because there's not really a whole lot of pressure on me individually. But I just think with the PWHL, just with like a lot of like the prospect rankings and, oh, this player is going to go here, I definitely felt a lot of pressure to perform in college for sure. Obviously, you try and not look into all those rankings and everything going on, but I think it's just human instinct to be curious about it and read maybe about yourself a bit. So I think definitely that was probably the most pressure I felt throughout this year too, on top of being in college and just being the captain and wanting your team to do great things as well. So
got it. Very interesting. So you'd probably chalk it up to say being the captain of your college team and leading into the draft, you felt the heaviest amount of pressure, you would say.
Yeah, I think so.
So you mentioned kind of like what you're projecting going into the pro game is that physicality. Are there any other elements kind of on that note, just for the game in general, that you think need more attention in terms of developing women's hockey to become more popular, growing the game and all those things that you talked about? Is there anything that you think needs to be improved or could be improved on to make it something that's more attractive and continues on the trajectory it's on growing?
Yeah, I think just the visibility. I think the way they did the PWHL has been outstanding. You can just tell now being a part of it, but also being a spectator of it last year, how much time and effort they put into carefully thinking things out. Like I think of even something like the team names and logos. They had those initial ones that they released, and then obviously they didn't want to rush it. So then they went back, I think, and reevaluated, which could be a bit of a smaller issue per se, but I'm just taking in feedback from fans and kind of taking their time with something like that, I think was so important. But I would just say the visibility too. I think you've seen with women's sports as a whole, when they're given the platforms and spotlights, the amazing things they can accomplish. So I think the continued support from obviously media, news, different brands, and just promotion, I think, is going to help continue elevate the women's game for sure.